Hi guys, welcome to the fresh edition of the Appy Pie Connect Developer Platform. In this tutorial, we will guide you on how to make your app accessible on the Connect platform. This video will certainly help you to make your app available at the Connect platform for your users. You can boost customer retention and your customers can integrate your app with more than 150 apps available at Connect while automating their workflow. You can also add both trigger and action events of your choice to make your app integration smooth and seamless. Let's see how it's done. Firstly, sign up into the Appy Pie Connect Developer Platform. On the dashboard, click on New Project to create a new project for your app. Now to submit an app for availability at Connect, you need to create a new project in the developer platform of Appy Pie Connect. Once you have clicked on the New Project part, the Connect Developer Platform will ask for certain basic details. First, enter the name of your app. This should be user-friendly so that your customer can search and recognize your app. For examples, let's name the app as Connect with Zoom. Now, you need to add the description of your app. Please remember that the description should have at least 300 characters and must be able to explain the basic working of your app. Mention the best suitable description and press the Next button. The third important requirement is logo. Connect Developer Platform will ask to upload a logo of your app. This will help your customers to recognize your app and use it for integration. For this, click the Choose File option and upload the logo from your local system. Make sure to follow the given guidelines for uploading quality logo. Once the logo is uploaded, press the Next button. Homepage URL option is optional and you can skip it for now. The next important option is to select the intended audience of your app. Select a suitable option from the drop-down menu and tap the Next button. Select the role or relation with the app from the drop-down menu and press the Next button. Now, choose the category that explains best about working on your app and press the Next button. If you want to get the notification for the updates related to integration, tick the checkbox or skip and click Create option. Now, your project is ready for configuration and adding trigger/action events. It is now time to start creating the app authentication. Click the Setup Authentication button and this process will help to recognize the user of your application. It will authenticate the user of the app to access their data on Appy Pie Connect. Click the OAuth v2 button and save. Now, copy the URL shown and use it in your app's API settings to allow integration with Connect. Once you have pasted the URL in your API setting, you will be required to provide client ID and client secret for the Connect to process the request of authentication. Once done, click the Save and Continue option. Next, you will be configuring the OAuth v2 endpoint. Enter the URL to authenticate the user with your API. You can check various options available in the Show Options tab and can change the settings as per your requirement. The next option is to define scope, which will limit the access of Appy Pie to your app. It is an optional setting and we can move ahead with Access Token Request. In Access Token Request you will provide the path where the user access request could be verified. You can check necessary adjustments with the Show Options menu. Once the request details are complete, now you need to test the setup. Thus, enter the API endpoint URL to run the test and check for any issues related to the authentication. After the details are filled, now connect an account and run the test to check if the application authentication has been successful or not. Once done with it, click the Save and Finish button to move and your authentication part is over for this project. Let's understand how to add triggers for your app in this project. To add a trigger, click Add a Trigger button. Now to make the trigger user-friendly and informative, you will be required to fill the particulars of the relevant trigger. This will help the user of your app to recognize the trigger event and its working. Add the name of the trigger event, make sure it is familiar to the user. Then, add the description to explain working of the trigger event in your app. Next, hidden option, use it if you are using this trigger as an internal part of the other trigger event or else just leave it blank. Now, press the Save and Continue button and move forward with the working part of the trigger. Once the information part is complete, the next most important part of the trigger is its input designer. This will take the information from the user and will work on the basis of the data filled in this input designer. Now, give it a key name for the API to recognize the field. After this, give a label which will help users to enter the relevant on the basis of understanding its name. You can click the checkbox to make this field mandatory for the users. Select the type of data to be received, this can be string, array, etc. To help the user in understanding the type of data to be filled, there is a Help Text area. Fill the information text that will help the user in understanding the purpose of the field. Also, You can fill the information in the placeholder field to further assist the users. Once the information is filled, click the Create button to complete the Input Designer form. After this, you will be able to configure API through the API configuration setup. API configuration consists of three important parts. To define API endpoint, test the API response and define its output. Let's start with API endpoint. Fill the API endpoint URL and check the setup to provide an array output. You can further tweak the settings through the Show Options drop-down menu. Once the information is complete, click the Save and Continue option. Now, you have to test the API endpoint response. Click the Test API with selected account and continued button and the report will appear. If successful, the output fields will appear. Click the Save Output Field button and the output fields will be defined automatically. Next, we will start by adding an action event in your app project. To begin with adding an action event, click the Add Action button. A settings option will appear with a form to fill in the details. Here you will define the name of action. This will help users in Connect to know the purpose of the event, thus keep it simple and user-friendly according to your app. Then comes the description part. You can explain the user about the action event in brief. Here a checkbox is also given to hide this action event from the users if in case it is being used for any other action event. Once the setting part is over, you have to create an input designer form just as in case of a trigger event. Click the Add User Input button and a form will appear. Enter the key, a name for the API reference, then a label for the user to understand it's working. You can mark the checkbox if this is a compulsory field for the app user. Then select the type of the field from the drop-down menu available. By default it is set as a string type to collect the data from the user. You can also use the Help text field to further define the working of input fields and what information part should the user fill in, to make this action event work. Placeholder is also available to assist with the hint or example for the type of data to be provided. Once the information is complete, click the Create button. Check for any errors and resolve them accordingly before moving on to the next step. Now, let's start with the API configuration part. First define the API endpoint for the Connect. Click the type of response from the drop-down menu and paste the URL. You can make the relevant changes using the Show Options tab. For example, you can define the URL params and add key as well as value. Once the changes are over, click the Save and Continue option. After this, test your API response and click the Test button under API endpoint. Once the success report is shown, then click Test API with selected account and continue. Now, define your output. The Connect will show all the data received via API. You can remove the output fields which are not required and click Save Output Field. Once the success message flashes, click Validate Integration button to validate all the configurations and verify the setup. A message will be displayed notifying the error report in the integration. Next, you have to click the Submit for Review button to submit the app to our team for the review. Once our team verifies all the details, your application will be live for the public use. I hope that this tutorial will help you to make your application available at Connect. Contact our support team for further assistance. That's all for today. Thank you for watching.